Hello and welcome to the news series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja, and in this segment today we are going to discuss about one candidate, one constituency. This topic is of extreme significance from the perspective of prelims, the factual information. From the perspective of mains examination, GS mains paper 2 is the main part, and the other parts can also include optional paper, political science and international relations. So let's begin with the various topics that we are going to discuss under it. These are the many topics that we are going to discuss, and the main emphasis will be on one candidate, one constituency, although many key reforms have been suggested by the Election Commission, but this is going to be our core of the entire argument. Then, what are the arguments in favor for this particular concept, the against, and the conclusion along with the question. So, the Election Commission has sent certain proposals to the Law Ministry concerning many things, and they need to sort the reforms in order to make democracy work in a better form. What are these key reforms? Let's go through them step by step. First, linking of Aadhaar with voter IDs should be done. If this is done, then bogus voting plus absence of certain candidates who want to vote but they do not have their voter IDs can also be solved, and also double counting of votes, multiple naming of the same person, these all can be taken care of. Allowing 4 qualifying dates for eligible people to register as voters. Not only 1st January but also many other months in a proper proportion have been suggested so that people can get themselves updated in the voters list and they are eligible for voting not only in the Lok Sabha election but state assembly elections as well, so that their vote does not get wasted. And also banning opinion polls and exit polls. Opinion polls are basically the polls which it's a survey that is undertaken by certain agencies, specifically news channels, to know the opinion of the people whenever state assembly elections or Lok Sabha elections are in the pipeline. And exit polls are taken just after the elections have been concluded to assess what is the status of the democracy, which party is winning, and limiting the seats from which a candidate can contest to just one. Right now, we have a provision according to Section 33, Clause 7 of the RPA 1951, Representation of People Act 1951, which allows a candidate to choose 2 constituencies to contest elections from. Powers to de-recognize and deregister political parties as well, and the necessity to have political parties declare funding of amounts smaller than rupees 20,000 as well. So these are the key reforms which have been suggested by the Election Commission. Moving on, if we talk about the background with respect to one candidate, one constituency. Now, prior to 1996, basically, if we go to 1996, there was no limit on the number of seats from which a candidate can contest elections from. Now that became a problem because it was weighing heavy on the exchequer, and because of that, what happened? Amendment had to be done in 1996, and this amended the provision, making that there is going to be only 2 maximum number of constituencies from which a candidate can, contest the election. Now, this particular amendment, it has been reiterated since many years, 1998, 2004, 2006, 2012 and 15. Now, one more thing that we have to keep in background over here is 2,796 plus registered unrecognized political parties have been done, and 87 of them have been delisted. Over 1,000 crore of donations to such parties have been under scrutiny. So if these parties are actually having any proper motive for national reforms, for revolutionizing our democratic process, if it is not sitting well with the Election Commission, that is why they have delisted it. Also, tax relief should only be for parties that contest election over a period of time, failing which deregistration should be permitted. These are the certain tidbits of the background. Moving on, if we talk about one candidate, one constituency, this is a concept like one person in our democracy has one vote. Why not one candidate should have one constituency to contest from? Let us talk about Section 33, Clause 7 of the Representation of People Act 1951. This gives the power to a candidate to contest election from two constituencies, and many important and very influential politicians have done so. Indira Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi, even Akhilesh Yadav has done it for his state assembly, and then Rahul Gandhi in 2019, he contested elections from Wayanad and Amethi. Now he lost in Amethi, but you see that by-elections had to be done. Basically, the section 33 clause 7 of the RPA Act is there to facilitate by-election when a candidate, if the candidate has lost one seat and won the other, then by-election has to take place so that that particular seat is not vacant, right? And what are the reasons for contesting from two constituencies? It can be, one of the reasons can be that a contestant is not very sanguine, not very hopeful, and you can say confident with respect to his or her victory. Also, to reduce and dilute the vote of other parties, this can also be done to have a ripple effect. If the adjacent constituencies also are having good candidates of a party, then in order to create a ripple effect and so that the voters can bring into power only one party, that can also happen. Also, to publicize the extent of one's influence, that means a person is ready to infuse a lot of money in order to make sure that extent of influence are manifested through showing that our candidates are fighting from or contesting elections from so many constituencies. The benefit for voters as well as the polity is that because of this particular provision, wider choice is available. A person can look to many choices and then makes the best choice. This is for voters. The right of the candidate to contest election is also preserved. Why not? Why a person cannot have two options? This does not have any proper backing right now. So when it does, Election Commission is backing it, that means it has certain evidences that we will also discuss. It has certain evidences, it has certain reports with respect to the previous reports which were asking for amendment of this particular segment, section 33 clause 7. Now section 70 of the Act of RPA, Representation of the People Act, says that if a person has lost one seat and won the other, that the person has to vacate one seat in 10 days and a by-election has to take place. Now, the problem with by-election is that first, because of the by-election, the faith in the candidate, let's take the example of the current Prime Minister. In 2014, he won the seat of Vadodara and Varanasi both. Now, he vacated Vadodara's constituency and chose to take care of Varanasi. But that was supposedly the people, the voters who voted for them, that was kind of a betraying of the faith of those people. Now, this is not, I'm not saying that this makes our current Prime Minister a person who betrays the feelings, but I'm saying that this is the structure of the constitution, this is the structure of the RPA in such a manner that this has to happen. Many people have done that before. So, first, that is the problem. And in by-election, it takes a huge toll on the public exchequer. Now, again, a lot of money has to be infused when it comes to next election to fill that seat which was vacant. Again, the voter turnout might not be very appreciable. People tend to lose interest by going to vote again and again. Okay. Now, one more thing, a PIL was filed before the Supreme Court certain years ago by Ashwini Kumar Upadhyay with respect to this particular section 33 clause 7, that it is unconstitutional, and he also backed this particular PIL with Law Commission's 255th report, in which the Law Commission said that yes, we need to amend section 33 clause 7, which gives a candidate the choice of two constituencies to contest elections from. Now, Election Commission also backed that, and the Election Commission has also requested the Supreme Court to amend section 33 to restrict politicians to contest elections only from one seat. Moving on, what are the arguments in favor of having one candidate, one constituency. Time and again, elections are an expensive process. Even by-elections are so. So first, to preserve government exchequer, taxes that we pay goes so much into elections that you can't even imagine. So if the process of by-elections are, one person can contest from one constituency, other people will also get a chance, right? And other people, when they will also get a chance, by-election is not needed then. Parties will be putting best candidate forward for every constituency they are going for. Why? Because the choices will get reduced to one, and when that happens, they will make sure that a flawless candidate, not a blot on the character or the image of the candidate is there, so that they have high hopes for winning. Also, more candidates will get a chance. If one person is going to engulf 2 seats, it will reduce the chances of other candidates. So that is something that we have to take care of here. Dedication to one constituency will have more connection. A person, a candidate, whenever he or she will choose a particular constituency, he or she would ensure that they know the ground level situation of that place, so that they can have a better connect with the people in order to win. Okay, moving on, if we say what are the you can say arguments against one candidate, one constituency, it can lead to multiple parties emerging, regional parties emerging in such a manner that regional aspirations are given a proper institution, and that might lead to parochialism. More subdivision of the already divided society can take place. Parochialism means narrow interest. Narrow interests are preferred over national interest or more bigger interest. Stress on administrative machinery. Okay, this can also be taking place. If multiple rallies are being conducted with respect to one candidate, one constituency, then it can take a heavy toll on the administrative machinery. We do not have that much of a manpower. It can also lead to lack of choices for voters. As I told you, that if people have many candidates, coming for one constituency, they get a lot of choice to vote. But if that happens, one candidate, one constituency, then they will have to, lessen their choices. Now, if supposedly this amendment cannot happen, then Election Commission says that an explicit provision has to be ensured that the candidate who is contesting elections from 2 constituencies, in case he or she wins both the constituencies, then what can he or she do? He or she can ensure that they will provide funds for the by-election. It can be 5 lakh for state legislative assembly, 10 lakh for Lok Sabha elections. Instead of conducting by-elections, the candidate securing the second highest vote, they should be announced as the winner. This is also one of the suggestions of the Election Commission. And wastage of time is against the spirit of the Constitution. Conducting by-election time and time again, money, time, effort, efficiency, everything goes to a loss. So in order to take care of that, these were the suggestions of the Election Commission. Let us look at our question for today's segment. The principle of one person and one vote and one candidate and one constituency must be strictly adhered to. Analyze in 250 words, okay? So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.